It's been 12 months since acquittal, and so much has passed us by. Such as tampering with evidence, and some blatant flat-out lies. Special new prosector, and Hank Breeden is his name. He is a dirty Boston lawyer, and his arguments are lame. He's trying to squash all of our experts, as he has no case to claim. He should have won an Oscar medal to convince the court he's sane. He can lie without a conscience and keep that smirk upon his face. I bet he wears those silky undies, the ones with that chain-made lace. And Judge Beverly Academy is so biased for the state, is waiting through 100 motions in a rush to seal my fate. So you can bring in Massachusetts, cause we all ain't got no quit. And we all know that the truth is my car is not the thing John hit.
In and you're seeing people every day coming in, and the anticipation again is that today is the day. Boston strong.
Yes.
Does that relate to this?
Yes, of course.
In what way?
Because we all have Boston pride no matter what.
And what are you anticipating today?
No verdict.
You don't think there'll be a verdict?
Nah, they need a little more time, I think.
More time.
Yeah.
All right. How long have you been following this case?
I'm from Canton, so
You're from Canton.
yeah, I can't really avoid it.
Okay. Did you know any of the people involved in the case?
No.
Are you telling me the truth?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to verify. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And we work our way over to the steps here. All right. There are men here too. You know, you talk about man on the street interviews. It's kind of tough here because it's about, I don't know, what would you say, 80% women?
Yeah, there's a good amount.
Okay. Why are you here? What's your message?
Because I think the trial affects not just one set of people. I think it affects all of us in the Commonwealth. This is not only about this spans beyond any type of identity whatsoever. Karen is a person just like us. It could have happened to my mom, could have happened to my sister, could have happened to his mom or his sister. There's really no telling that there's no limitations on what this case could mean, especially if she's proven guilty on something she just didn't commit.
Thanks so much for sharing your views. Like I said, younger people, older people, small children. School is now out in most of the jurisdictions around here. So you're seeing a complete cross section of locals, out of town, but all of them seem to be supporting the defense, the accused murderer, Karen Reed.
Absolutely. And boy, interesting. The person that thought there's not going to be a verdict today, yet they're still out there.
From Canton.
Yeah. They're willing to sit and wait just in case. All right, Vinny, thank you. We're going to get back to Vinny, but we're going to, I think, hit a break right now. But first, check in with Rob Corbett, criminal defense attorney, who's been watching all of this coverage. Rob, what's your take here? Factor in the questions from yesterday and the fact that there's been not a peep today.
First off, thank you for having me. The length of time that the deliberations have been going on, this would lead me to think that they are leaning towards either a hung jury or not guilty. The issue being, though, factoring the question from yesterday, this jury is aware that if they do not reach a verdict, there is a possibility of the Commonwealth retrying this case. That's why they asked that question in terms of what happens if we have a verdict on the first two charges, but we do not have a verdict on the third one. Will that automatically trigger a retrial? And the judge did not answer that question. I believe that that is appropriate. Judges don't usually answer that type of question. And if I was the defense attorney, what you are hoping that someone gets it in their mind that they need to more tailor the question so it becomes, they write a note stating that we do have a verdict on charge 1 or 2 and we cannot reach a verdict on the third charge. Then that would kick in discussions of where the defense could ask the judge to declare a mistrial, take the verdict on the first 2 charges, and then if you're able to find out how that split went, then maybe convince the Commonwealth not to retry the case.
Rob, what do you think about what happened yesterday in terms of one of the first questions that were announced? We believe that all these questions came at the same time from the jury, but the one about operating under the influence, that lesser charge that comes under the manslaughter that just has to do with drinking under the influence and driving. And it doesn't have anything to do with there being a collision, that John O'Keefe's body made contact with her vehicle. What do you think about that even being on the verdict form? And the defense is the one that wanted this to be part of this case. But if she walks away with a drunk driving conviction in this case, is that justice in any sense?
Well, in terms of the first part, in terms of that being a part of the lesser included, that becomes a strategy decision in terms of whether or not you push, as a defense attorney, you push or ask for lesser included. I know some colleagues may say that they're looking for a more all or nothing and they don't want certain lesser included to come in. I tend to be on the other side of where that if there is a certain lesser included that may fit, then I would probably ask for that. And the way the law is that if there is evidence to support, then the judge has to include that lesser included. And I would ask for that because then that way that is giving some jurors an out to say that, look, I believe she may have been under the influence, she may have been intoxicated at the time, but did not cause the death of Mr. O'Keefe. And then that gives them a way to say that I will convict on something, but not convict on the more serious charge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that was the strategy. You'd have to think from the defense. It's not a bad strategy at all. It just may turn out to be, in retrospect, something that could be a problem. Let's get a break. Rob, stand by. Thank you. We're going to head back and continue to watch 19 hours, 48 minutes. We're creeping up on 20 hours. The lunch undoubtedly is over. So is this it? This is usually the time when jurors come back. It's after lunch and an afternoon before a day off. All of those boxes have been checked. What about a verdict form? We'll find out eventually. Welcome back to Court TV Live, along with Julia Janae and Ted Rollins. We continue to wait word outside and inside the courthouse in Dedham, Massachusetts. And just looking at that little intro thing there, your shots of John O'Keefe, you think about all of the viewers who are on pins and needles, the people outside the courthouse who are on pins and needles. Those families have been living in this horrible, horrible sort of state for now years, and it just amplifies to a level I can't comprehend in terms of what they're going through right now.
And they're in a way in limbo after that really revealing note from the jury yesterday that has a lot of people thinking that this may be not guilty on 2 charges, even though we haven't gotten the final verdict. No doubt all the emotions that are around hearing those words has already got people's stomachs in knots, one way or the other, whether it's excitement or dread. This has already started. We are already in. It's a verdict watch, but right now it's a verdict warning. It feels like we're in. Let's bring in someone who's on the ground, of course, for us there in Dedham, Massachusetts. Court TV lead anchor Vinny Politan is there among the people. Vinny, what have you got?
Okay, I love that term. We got to use that, verdict warning, because we're past the lunch hour now. Okay, so now everyone has to be on standby. So if a note was sent out during lunch, they would be receiving it now and be notifying the parties now if a note was sent. You know, you have that 1 hour, which is the normal time where, you know, courtroom personnel, everyone's given an opportunity to eat lunch and be ready for a potential verdict or a potential question in the case. So that's where we are. Right now where I'm standing, I'm giving you the reverse angle of what you've been seeing all day from our live shot, which is up at the top of these steps. You saw the back of all the heads. What I wanted you to do now is see the faces that are not the back of the heads, so you can see the folks who are lining up here. And I'm going to take an opportunity. I have to speak to this young woman who's got a "Don't Forget John" sign. What's your message?
I think that too many people are forgetting who the real victim is. I think Karen is a victim in a different light. John is the real victim here, so I think after this is all said and done, whether we're guilty or innocent, which we know we're innocent, how about justice for John?
Let me ask you this. Don't forget John. What should we remember about John O'Keefe?
I think that John was a human being. John's life was taken too short. John isn't able to give any answers. The only people that know the answers are the people that are sitting in that courtroom. So I think that let it come to light. All that's done in darkness will come to light. So let's hope that we can remember John for who he was and not for this, for who he was as a person. He served his community. Let's serve him. Let's give back the way he gave back to his community.
Thank you so much. I appreciate those words. Okay. You're here.
Yeah, but no, I don't want it. I don't want to be on TV.
Okay. We won't put you on TV. She didn't want to be on TV. We don't put her on TV. Let me tell you, this is really the timing, right? It's after lunch. There's just a few hours left before this jury takes a break the next day. They know that they're off on Thursday. That is not lost on me. I know it's not lost on you. I hope it's not lost on the folks watching at home. It's certainly not lost on the folks who are here. The numbers continue to grow. The volume continues to grow, but it's not chanting, it's not screaming. It's just normal noise that comes when you get hundreds and hundreds of people together and they have something in common and they're speaking. That's what's taking place right here. The general tone, if I had to describe, everyone's very courteous to one another. Like, we're doing this shot here. We are sort of blocking the sidewalk, but rather than push their way through, people are tiptoeing, trying to figure out a way around us, because everyone's very cognizant of the job that we're trying to do, and they're cognizant of one another. If there's someone who has to get through down the sidewalk, you'll hear people scream, sidewalk, sidewalk, sidewalk. There's some people here that are on crutches, some people who are in scooters that have to get by, and everyone's always willing to make sure those folks are taken care of. Starting to see a mixture of folks, as I mentioned, from young children of people who are here to middle school kids college students showing up now. And of course, you have the people who have been here for 2 years. So I think you've got a great cross section. There's a lot of pink, but there's some non-pink here, but I call them the non-pink supporters. They're still here supporting Karen Reed. It's just they're not part of the group that normally dresses one way. So if you don't see pink, don't necessarily think they're anti-Karen Reed. It's just they're just not wearing pink. I mean, that's all it is. That's the answer to that question. So
Hey,
the
Vinny, I got a
intensity's
question
building.
for you.
The intensity's building.
When we think about logistics here, if indeed this jury is hung up on manslaughter and one of the levels of it, and they at some point this afternoon decide that they believe that they're hung, they're not going to finish today. There's not enough time left because we're not even into Allen charge territory. They haven't. That process in itself takes time. Give us, if you would, sort of an explanation of if they're having trouble to the point where they alert the court that they're deadlocked, that sort of starts a whole other process.
Yeah. Here's what I find interesting based upon the notes, right? Where they didn't get the answer about being hung on one count and not on the other two. Is it or is it not a deadlocked jury? There's another way to read that this jury does not want to be deadlocked. They know there was a problem with the first trial. They don't want to continue that problem. Here's what I think. I think they're going to really be hesitant to send out a note saying they're deadlocked because they didn't get an answer. If they send out a note saying they're deadlocked, they may believe that it's a deadlock and it's over. They don't know the process, Ted. So I think that's going to be their last resort. So that's the only thing that tells me maybe we don't hear from them today. If they're deadlocked, even on one count, they don't know that they can return a verdict on the other two because the question wasn't answered. And that's part of the mystery and frustration that people may feel with them not understanding. It may also push them to come to a verdict, saying, listen, we don't want to be like the first jury. We don't want to be deadlocked. Let's agree to something. Maybe someone's got to compromise. And from that compromise, you get verdicts on all three counts. So I think that's another possibility, that this jury doesn't want to be deadlocked. So they don't know that it takes 2 or 3 notes saying you're deadlocked before you're actually deadlocked. And deadlocked on one count is not deadlocked on 3 counts. I know that, you know that. I think most of these folks out here know that. The viewers know it now. But I don't know if the 12 who count actually know that. Like the 12 who should know the answer to that question don't have the answer to that question.
Absolutely right. It could be a standoff. Judge Cannoni not wanting to have a mistrial at any cost, so she didn't want to answer the question, and the jurors not wanting to have a mistrial, so they don't want to send any other questions that are definitive. And here we are, and we continue to wait. Vinny Politan, thank you so much for all of that. We are going to squeeze in a break. Keep in mind, folks, anytime we could hear an announcement there on the ground that we have a verdict or that we have another question. I feel like at this point that would be as big a news because we want to know what these jurors are thinking and what happens next. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Court TV, your front row seat to justice.
Tonight on Closing Arguments, it's Verdict Watch in the Karen Reed retrial, and we're live outside the courthouse. We'll be unpacking the pivotal moments as deliberations continue.
Closing Arguments, tonight at 8/7 Central, only on Court TV.
The WNBA is on iron. Friday, the Wings battle the Sun. Then, the Aces host the Storm. Coverage starts Friday at 7. Find Ion wherever you watch. Ion, it's on.
Welcome back to Court TV Live, along with Julia Janae. I'm Ted Rollins. The clock has now surpassed 20 hours of time that this jury deliberated the fate of Karen Read, has worked to come to a unanimous verdict on all 3 charges that she is facing. And to this point, they are still working. The lunch break has come and gone. This is usually that time when a jury that's close pulls the trigger, especially when you have tomorrow being a holiday. Tomorrow there is no court because of the observation of Juneteenth, the 19th, and that is court rooms across the country. There is a question about Friday, though, because jurors originally were told you'll get Thursday and Friday off. At that point, Judge Cannone didn't realize they'd be in deliberations.
That we'd still be here the way we are now. So there's a possibility, but they don't know. I feel like there's a lot that this jury does not know. They're in that room. They're in that situation where we don't want to bother them. We don't want to influence them at all. And for that matter, they may be in that room not knowing about Friday, whether or not they can take it off or should take it off. You see the crowds outside, our camera pointed outside of the courthouse, the crowds milling around, all waiting to see if an SUV pulls up carrying Karen Read, because that will signal that something is happening inside the courtroom and that they have received a notification.
And the big question is, what is this jury hung up on? What are they talking about? What are the issues, the main issues? What we do have is a juror from the first trial, a juror that came forward. There were several that came forward and spoke out, including one juror named Ronnie that spoke with Vinnie Politan. And Vinnie went through everything with him in terms of the different parts of the trial that maybe hit or didn't hit with that jury. Here is Ronnie talking to Vinnie about the cuts on John O'Keefe's arm and the taillight.
What did you think of the cuts on the arm of John O'Keefe? Did you believe it could have come from a dog?
Again, it wasn't conclusive. To me, it wasn't conclusive whether it was an animal or just abrasions due to glass or scraping against metal. But there was no conclusive evidence on where it actually originated from and where those scrapes or abrasions, how did they get there per se.
Let's talk about the tail light of the SUV. It was broken. It's clear it was broken. I'll start with your perspective. How do you believe the tail light was broken? What caused that?
Some sort of impact, clearly, that caused the breakage of the tail light. I think in terms of testimony, we would have preferred that the Dighton police officer who testified clearly indicated a little bit more information on whether the broken tail light was consistent to when he first saw it at the location at the Reed's residence versus, and then it was towed. And then also it would have been nice to have some sort of testimony from the tow truck driver who transported it to the Canton Police Department, because in that sense, we would be able, whenever you move a vehicle, usually you take pictures or note any damage. So I would imagine that that tow truck driver probably would have had some sort of information, unless he did not do due diligence and actually write down any kind of damage on the car prior to moving it to the Canton Police Department.
What's even more telling about Ronnie's interview there is he's a paramedic. He was someone inside of that deliberation room who had a bit of knowledge about medical emergencies. Let's bring in criminal defense attorney Robert Corbett. Was that illuminating for you, Robert? We love to hear from jurors after they are done deliberating, and it could very well be a lot of what's happening inside of that deliberation room this time around.
I would say it is very illuminating whenever you get a chance to speak with a juror, because some jurisdictions do not allow it. Always encourage people to take advantage of that, because you get the ability to gain insight in terms of some of the things that they were thinking about or things they may have been hung up on. And the issues that that juror brought up, I am sure, are the same concerns that this jury is wrestling with, in terms of, if you cannot say definitively how those injuries were caused, that's reasonable doubt. If you can't say in terms of how the broken tail light was caused. Obviously, it's caused by some type of impact, but you can't say definitively or prove how that occurred. Then, once again, that is reasonable doubt. And each juror could have their own reasonable doubt. They don't have to have a consensus. It could be a multiple of things. And one juror could have one reasonable doubt about this, and another juror could have reasonable doubt about something completely different.
One of the non-deliberating jurors from the first Karen Read case ended up being part of the defense team this time around. Rob, how much do you think they leaned in as a sounding board with that individual as they prepared for trial?
I'm sure they used that person as a dedicated focus group in terms of if they didn't have a focus group or mock trials, but they would run by certain themes with that juror in terms of also ask that juror, what was something during the deliberations that really stuck out to you, or what was some of the discussions in the previous jury in terms that really stuck with that jury and things that caused them to vote not guilty. And those things that were shared with the defense team, they were probably, I would say, just really doubled down on that and really honed in on those particular ideas so that they could probably try to get at least the same outcome by getting a hung jury, if not a better outcome by getting a straight acquittal.
Yeah, though she was not a deliberating juror, she was an alternate, but they certainly can talk about what her thoughts were as she saw all of that unfold last year. Rob Corbett, thank you so much for your analysis. We do have to say goodbye to you, but we've got a lot ahead because at any moment, we keep saying it, but it's because it's true. Until 4 o'clock and these jurors go home, they could return a verdict. They could have a question, and Karen Read could return to this courthouse. Don't go anywhere. Vinny and Matt at the top of the next hour.
So, what's your message?
To find the truth.
Gotcha.
Find the truth. Get justice for John O'Keefe. Get justice for Karen Reed. This isn't justice. It's corruption.
The antics are at an all-time high. They're on the ground in Dedham, Massachusetts. Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Julia Janae. We are all standing by on a verdict watch, wondering if this jury is getting close to a verdict. Those crowds have been gathering at the Dedham courthouse for the past several days, all waiting to hear whether Karen Reed is going to be found guilty, not guilty, or is this jury hung in the question of how Boston police officer John O'Keefe died. While we wait, let's bring in Court TV crime and justice correspondent Matt Johnson, who is there on the ground outside of the courthouse. You've been there so many days, Matt, I can't even count, but here we are, day 4 of deliberations, the second time around. Tell me about what is happening around you. Seems like we're seeing more security, or maybe differently clothed security behind you.
Been more security arriving.
All right, we have a bit of a problem with Matt's feed, so we're going to wait just a second until we see it clear up. I know there are a lot of cameras, a lot of TVU packs, so that sometimes interferes with the signal. Matt, I'm going to try you again. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you? There is a lot of cell service going on out here, a lot of live view packs, which is how we transmit television nowadays, no longer the truck, and then also cell phones. Everybody's on them and waiting, watching that fan inside this building here, waiting for any sort of movement in the courtroom. We're going to show you, this is the growing crowd across the street. This is where we've been doing our live shots. You see the sea of pink. These are the supporters of Karen Reed waiting for any sort of a movement as the defense team is expected back here by day's end, whether or not there's a question or verdict or just to check on the jury. So where I'm standing, you can see the number of media from all across the country growing in numbers, especially as we continue this verdict watch, day 4 now. You can see the guards here up at the courthouse steps. These are security officers within the court. They've added additional security for this trial. Let's show you over here. Now they have this mic stand in place, which is something that we saw last year, because the media here now anticipating today could be the day, could come down to this, we could get a verdict, and then right after that, immediately there would be some sort of statements made by the prosecutor, Hank Brennan, perhaps, or by the Commonwealth just in general, Mike Morrissey, which we haven't heard from. And we're showing you video right now of last year when this took place after that mistrial on July 1st, 2020. Where we had Alan Jackson addressing the crowd, and he was saying something to the nature of, we don't quit, we don't give up. And right after that, those charges were refiled, which brings us here today. Let me show you more cameras. It is a sea of cameras out here. A lot of friends in the media as we are waiting this out for this verdict watch. We're going to make our way down over here, and you can see there is more supporters over here. And there's also a lot of Dedham officers. They're always on standby just in case the defense team were to arrive. They usually go to this roped off area, this street that's been blocked off to the general public, and that's where they then enter the courtroom. We are waiting on pins and needles out here along with this crowd. We'll bring you any developments if we hear anything from inside the courtroom.
Matt Johnson, crime and justice correspondent, thank you for that update. Let's turn our attention now to Court TV lead anchor Vinnie Politan, who is also there in Dedham, Massachusetts, on the other side of the courthouse. Vinnie, what is it like where you are?
Yeah, I'm directly across the street from Matt. I can see him right out of my left eye. I can see Matt on the other side of the street. So behind me here, this is another area where people have been throughout the trial, but especially at this point during the verdict watch, waiting, anticipating what's going to happen. And as that clock ticks, I mean, think about it. Time is running out. Time is running out for today, because we know here things end relatively early compared to some of the other jurisdictions where we cover cases. When we're down in Florida, Julie Janae, I remember talking to you at like 11 o'clock at night covering a verdict.
Oh, yeah.
So that's not the situation here in Dedham. Like 4 o'clock is like the time where if they don't reach it by 4, this jury knows that they won't be here tomorrow. I don't know if they know they'll be here on Friday, and they'll have to continue this. So right now is what I'm calling prime time. Prime time for a verdict is just about now. So the area I'm looking at is across the street where Matt was, right? So from where we are here, everyone gets a great view of where the defense team will pull up. It's also from the back where John O'Keefe's family normally comes up. The security is here, but there are a lot of officers all the time, so it's hard to tell when they're being mobilized. I think when they get into formation, then something is about to happen. That's not happening at this second, but it's going to take time, right? So if the jury has a note, it's got to get to the bailiff. It's got to get to the judge. The judge has to contact the lawyers. Then they've got to figure out what they're going to do with it all. In the meantime, the bailiff would have to get word out to the rest of security here. So what we're looking for and what we're looking out for is security formations that look a little different. We're also looking, and usually that security is in the area where the SUVs pull up. And we're also obviously keeping our eyes open for them as well. In the meantime, everybody here, I don't know. I don't know how they will react. I don't know what it'll be like if there is no verdict today. Let me ask a couple people. What happens if there's no verdict today? You coming back?
Of course.
Every day?
We ain't got no quit.
That's simple enough. They're coming back. This guy's been here every day. No verdict today. Are you coming back?
The verdict's coming back today.
I understand that, but like,
am I coming
theoretically, hypothetically, if there was no verdict today, would you come back?
1,000%.
Okay.
Every day.
All right. What's your greatest fear at this moment?
The jury being a little bit confused on the slip.
Okay. I got it. All right.
Nothing else.
That's it. Any fear?
Any fear that this is going to carry on beyond today? This jury is ready. The supporters are ready. The families, both families are ready. So if it carries beyond today, the prolonged anxiety and stress, it weighs a lot on all of us.
I know you're a lawyer.
I am, unfortunately, because it's the delays like this of the justice system that make me question that profession sometimes, Vinny.
Let me ask you a big picture question. What will the public's trust in the system of justice be if it is guilty, guilty, guilty?
There will be no more trust because from a public standpoint, with the travesty that has gone on here, with the abundance of reasonable doubt, with the way in which this trial and trial 1.0 were conducted, with the amount of ignorance of evidence that to me as a Free Karen Read supporter has been so present, so obvious, the public trust, and especially that of all of these people who I've chosen to stand with and next to, our trust is going to be gone. And I should say that to all of those who support a guilty verdict here. We all should stand for something stronger, moral certainty when we convict people, and honesty and transparency from our government, from our prosecutors, and from our judiciary. So if it comes across guilty, 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 I will make it my mission in life to keep standing up and keep showing up to try to do something about it.
Thanks so much for your words. Obviously, she's a lawyer, well-spoken, but everyone here is doing some form of those same sentiments, that it's about justice, what they believe justice is. And normally when we talk about getting justice, it's a conviction. And the public reaction normally is for a conviction. Here, it's the inverse. It's overwhelming, not just here at the courthouse, but you've been online. I've been online. We've seen the numbers. We've seen the comments. We've seen the polls. This case is different. The public sentiment is different. The question is, did the jury watch the same trial that all the folks here watched?
I was watching the people around her while she was speaking, Vinny, and they're nodding along. You can just see the conviction that is connected to people who are out there. It is about Karen Read, but it isn't about her, the person. It seems to be more about just this belief in pushing against corruption, pushing against a problem with the system that they say happened here and a problem with even the police in that area. Do you know at all what people's plans are afterward? There's so many people that are there, so many people who are continuing to gather. Do they have a place they are going to go, if regardless of what this is, when we get the verdict? But I would imagine that the city has to prepare for that as well.
They are. I'm sensing a buzz right now. Jury's coming back. Oh, Karen's team is coming back is the word I'm getting. So we're going to plant the camera. Keep an eye on what's happening over here. But that's what the folks are saying, right? They're saying that the team is coming back. They come back for
Vinny, I want to let our
reasons.
viewers know, and you as well, that we are hearing that there's movement inside of the courtroom as well. We can't put our cameras down because we are not on the record, but apparently there is some movement inside of the courtroom.
Interesting. The buzz out here now, you can see, if you watch the area close to where they pull up, people are starting to file in there to fill that area up. The folks on this side of the street are now getting closer to the edge of the curb. Everyone anticipating that the defense team is about to arrive at some point in the very, very, very near future. And it's about that time, right? This is the time of day when things like this happen. Keeping an eye on security, you can see more of them all converging. So it seems that there is some activity right now, and it's actually getting a little quieter. It's actually getting a little quieter here on the street. So as we get ready for whatever this is, we don't know. But one of the options, obviously, is the big decision that has to be made by this jury. Have they come to that decision? Are they sending a note? Have they sent word? Did they hammer it out? I guess we'll find out soon. But here, again, it's interesting because the quieter it gets, it's more indicative that something is happening. And I think folks here are they're obviously anticipating what this could mean. And they're invested. So they're kind of on those pins and needles that everyone else is on. So let's send it back to you. I'll keep an eye on everything happening here, but there's an absolute sense that something big is about to happen.
Vinny Politan, we are going to slip in a break, but you are not going to miss anything, folks. We are covering this from all sides, inside and outside the courthouse, and on air and online. We will see what happens and what is happening inside of that courtroom when we come back. Thank you for being with us.
Tonight on Closing Arguments, it's Verdict Watch and the Karen Read retrial, and we're live outside the courthouse. We'll be unpacking the pivotal moments as deliberations continue.
Closing Arguments tonight at 8/7 Central, only on Court TV.
The brutal murders of 4 University of Idaho students.
Detectives arrested Brian Kohlberger.
And I pray that we have justice.
The Idaho College Student Murders Trial. Live coverage begins this August, only on Court TV.
Why Karen Reed? Nobody knew her before this. You didn't know her before this, right?
Never, but
Why her?
it could be us. It could be me. Could be you.
Why this case?
Injustice. Sandra Birchmore has a lot to do with this. Same cast of characters, and the police will not police themselves, and that's why I'm here.
Okay.
Justice for John O'Keefe.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. We are continuing to follow the verdict watch in Dedham, Massachusetts, Karen Reed's murder retrial, and we're starting to see some activity in and out of the courthouse. Let's go immediately to our lead anchor, Vinny Politan, who is on the ground. And Vinny, you said that family of Karen Reed's has arrived back at the courthouse.
Yeah. Take a look. The silent "I love you" signs are going up right now. Just across the street from where the SUV is pulling up right now, it looks like. We saw Karen Reed's father, but this is the rest of the team and Karen Reed arriving. It's after lunch. It's Wednesday. We've been talking about this all week. In a normal trial, this is about the time that you would expect a verdict. So whatever the notification is, whatever the reason is for them arriving at this moment, complete silence as Karen Reed walks in. Let's listen. I've never experienced anything quite like this, where you have hundreds of people supporting someone, waiting for them. They arrive, and there's a deafening silence in the streets of Dedham. That's exactly what we're experiencing right now as Alan Jackson, Karen Reed make their way into the courthouse, soon into the courtroom up on the second floor. And we'll soon find out what is about to happen. And of course, on the top of everyone's mind at this moment, is this the big decision? Is this the time when a jury will finally speak and finally answer the question, did Karen Reed murder John O'Keefe? So the quiet has actually continued now outside. I think people are feeling a sense of the moment itself. They've been here for day after day after day. They've been following the case for years. And it could be in just a few short moments that they find out the result here, Julia.
Listening to that silence behind you and the way they're continuing to be quiet reminds me of the instruction that you said that they were receiving from Karen Reed, which is to be calm if there is a verdict. Let's bring in Court TV anchor Ted Rowland, who is here in studio. And Ted, what are you thinking now that we are seeing activity inside and out at 2:17 Eastern?
This case is so unique in that we don't get any information, right? We're literally just trying to interpret. I think there's a verdict. Personally, just by the body language, I assume the parties know if it's a question or a verdict. You know, Karen going up and kissing her father, this seems like this might be it.
Let's see if we have Matt Johnson. I saw him asking Karen Reed a question and her lips move, but I don't think we had the audio. So let's go to him and see if he can tell us what she did say, because Matt, she always seems to answer your questions.
Yeah, well, we've covered this trial since the very beginning. And I asked Karen Reed, who was walking notably with her father, if she was ready for a verdict. And she said, always.
You are unmuted.
Be seated, court is in session.
All right. I appreciate you all getting back here. During the luncheon break, I received word from a court officer that the jury had knocked on the door, indicating that they had a verdict. But before I could even summons everybody into court, shortly thereafter, they knocked again and said they didn't have a verdict. So I asked the court officer to tell them to put that verdict slip in an envelope and seal it, and to give it to us. Paul, do you have it? Thank you. I haven't seen this. It's been sealed. I'm now going to seal it in the legal sense. So this is sealed. No one will have access to it. It will be preserved and made part of this record. I'm going to ask it to be marked for identification with the word jury, Chrissy, just to keep it separate and apart from everything else. So it's marked for ID with the word jury. All right. So we do not have a verdict because, as we all know, there is no verdict until it is announced and recorded in open court. So we are still awaiting a verdict. Because it took a while to pull this together, I would ask that everybody remain in the building until the end of the day. So we'll see everybody later.
Thank you. All right.
Comes over, they say we have a verdict. Cannoni is informed of it, but it's in between the time that Judge Cannoni is informed of this, there's another knock saying there is no verdict. Yet there's a verdict form in that piece, in that envelope, it seems.
And there's enough time that has elapsed that all of the parties have gathered. Karen Reed's team is 10 minutes out. So that means it wasn't an immediate thing, perhaps. Perhaps they were called again. But I'm understanding that Vinnie Politan is ready out on the ground. Let's go to him live. Vinnie, what do you think? Oh, the tie says it all.
But they can't come out of the courtroom.
Do we have
Can
a
you
verdict?
knot it? Can you
tell me.
tie it? You can't tie it
We have a
yet.
verdict. We don't have a verdict. We got a verdict. We don't have a verdict. Is there a verdict? Is there not a verdict? I don't know. So I'm just standing by like this. This is, again, unusual. The only time something like this happened, even close to this, was in the Johnny Depp trial when they had a verdict, sent out the verdict note, but they hadn't filled out the sheets properly and they had to send them back. This might be something different than that, though, because if the jury is knocking and saying we have a verdict and then knocking and saying we don't have a verdict, something's going on in that jury room. That's all that tells me. Something's going on. Somebody's like, wait a minute. So let's see. What is sealed in the envelope?
Yeah.
Open the envelope. Let's find out. I don't understand this. This is extremely unusual. Even though we don't know what the verdict is, all of a sudden now there's another issue with this case, with this jury. We do this all the time at Court TV. It's not that complicated. It's just not that complicated. But this case, this trial, these verdicts or lack of verdicts have become extremely complicated and convoluted. I don't understand it, but hopefully the judge and the attorneys can get to the bottom of what exactly is happening.
There should absolutely be a case study on this case in terms of how to deal with jurors, how to communicate with jurors. Do we think it could be a note? If the jury put in a note, we have reached a verdict, sent that to the court, and then that gets sealed because we don't want the indication on the record that there ever was a verdict if there was not one. Ted, what do you think? Do you think it perhaps could be that?
We don't know for sure that what's in that envelope is verdict form by any stretch. It likely is a note, and then it's the game of telephone between the bailiff. Was it miscommunicated, misinterpreted? I think that there's a backstory here that hopefully will be illuminated very soon for the parties. What do you do if now you're one of the Karen Reed, the O'Keefe family? This is bizarre.
Do you leave the courthouse at this point?
Or Canoni told him don't leave.
Right. Vinny, are people there on the ground? Did they hear verdict and have a reaction thinking there was one? Or was it pretty quick that they learned we don't have a verdict?
No, absolutely. Absolutely. We can take a look at the crowd. Everyone's confused right now. They're as confused as the rest of us. Everybody here heard verdict. There was a loudspeaker that was being played. And then all of a sudden we heard we don't have a verdict. I've never heard that before. We have a verdict. We don't have a verdict. I don't know what it means. They don't know what it means, but they're all glued to their phones trying to get the latest information from inside that courtroom. And, just to add another layer of intensity and anticipation to all of this, but sprinkle a whole bunch of confusion as well. It's unusual. It's really unusual what is happening at this moment. And I hope that the jury communicates what's happening. To me, that's the key. It's the communication between the jury and the court. Communication was the problem first time around, and now it looks like there's more communication issues. In a lot of jurisdictions, like I've been saying, sometimes the judge will just call the jury into the courtroom on the record and say, hey, what's going on? Do you have a verdict? Do you not have a verdict? Massachusetts, they don't like that sort of back and forth. They don't want to interfere at all. So that becomes a hurdle now in trying to understand what exactly happened inside that jury room and how you go from verdict in one moment to just a few moments later to no verdict. I think it even caught the judge off guard by the way she was describing what had happened. So everyone out here, there was that surge of this is the moment until it wasn't. Here we are. Welcome to Dedham.
They were right in the sense that this was a moment. It was almost the moment that everyone is waiting for. And I think you highlight something great, Vinny, that the communication.
The troops have rallied. I'm just going to swap feeds, I think.
That have to go, and there can be no verbal communication.
And his voice is grating me, so
add challenges in
I'll
itself.
be back in a sec.
I understand that Matt Johnson may be available. Let's see if we can go out to him, see what he is seeing from his vantage point. Matt Johnson, your reaction to us getting these double knocks from the jury?
The most unpredictable trial of the century. I mean, this doesn't help with the call from this community for transparency and light. There's just going to be more questions. And all of these supporters that believe in corruption and that there was a cover-up here are looking very confused at this point in time. There's something happening here at the courthouse in front of me because all of the police officers are still talking amongst each other. They're pointing to things on the backside of the courthouse. We know that all parties have been asked to remain present here on the property as this deliberating jury figures out what they're going to do. I mean, to knock on the door and say that they have a verdict and then to knock again and say that they don't, I think that now some people are wondering if a jury member had cold feet, if they changed their initial vote. There's a lot of confusion out here on the courthouse steps, but we're not seeing Reed's vehicles leave like we normally do. And there's a lot of movement out here in front, including from a lot of law enforcement that are here near the steps, a lot of media on the move too. Just a lot of silence and a lot of confusion, to be honest with you.
I want to bring in Ted, who's here with me in studio. Ted, do you think that this could mean, even if we do have a verdict, all the way up until polling the jury, after a verdict, after everything's entered, that we could still see some problems? I mean, we'll all be leaning in for the polling of the jury, which we usually kind of sit back for, ignore, but
yeah, I mean, this is just, you're thinking about all the different scenarios. Is there an unwilling juror who then changed his or her mind after that initial note was passed along that we do have a verdict? Was it the foreperson going, oh, oops, I mean, we didn't? Some communication issue within the jury room? Was the communication issue between the jury foreman and this bailiff? What's in the envelope? Is it one note or two notes? Is it a verdict form? A lot of questions, and you wonder if the parties are going to demand to be heard at some point here as time goes by and everybody's just sitting idly.
Talking about the time that's passing, Matt Johnson, do you know if Judge Cannoni is going to extend the day? I know she has been a stickler about ending the day early, 4 o'clock. Yesterday it was 3:50. With the weirdness of this situation, do you think there's a chance she will extend the day? Let this go into the late afternoon or evening? Because it seems like they're certainly on the precipice of a decision.
Yeah, I think 100% there is a chance that she will extend the day if we don't get a verdict within the next couple hours. She told all parties be present, because what happens is at the end of the day at 4 o'clock, when the jury is usually excused, she sends in a note with the bailiff asking if they want to work late. Then she works with the courthouse to keep security on present. But we're in like a Friday verdict type of scenario because you have tomorrow being a dark day because of the holiday Juneteenth. So that may move things along too, and we could see this courthouse stay open a little bit later than normal.
It better be. I mean, come on. We got to get to the bottom of this thing, right?
Sometimes rules are rules, and it feels like there are days that she should have let them go longer, pushed them to go a little longer, especially yesterday.
I think yesterday they wanted to leave. They sent the note that they'd had enough, and then they were sent on their way. But what's going on in that courtroom? This is insane.
Let's see. Do we still have Vinny available? Because I do want to ask him about what could happen to a holdout juror. Vinny, if there's a juror that is yanking everyone back and saying, I changed my mind, I don't want to come to a decision, and they have to then retract this verdict, what can happen? What are some of the options? Because we have seen situations where some jurors refuse to deliberate.
Right. If you refuse to deliberate, the rest of the jurors can send a note out and there can be an inquiry. And if you're not participating in it, you can be taken out of the jury. It's an extreme measure. We've seen it in high profile cases. Scott Peterson, a juror, was removed. I think it was the foreperson. It was a mutiny. But let's not go there quite yet. Like, it's always in Massachusetts, it's all about the verdict form, right? Was the verdict form signed and filled out? I don't know. If the verdict form is signed and filled out, that's supposed to be the verdict in Massachusetts. That's why counts 1 and 3 couldn't be dismissed last time, because they didn't fill out the paperwork. Could this be the inverse, where they filled out the paperwork and now we're saying we don't have a unanimous verdict? How do they deal with that? Last time it was the paperwork that won. Will the paperwork win this time? It's strange, but it's a possibility, right? You fill everything out, knock on the door. Because are you going to knock on the door before you fill out the paperwork? I wouldn't if I was the foreperson. I would make sure, all right, we've got it. We've got the votes. We fill out the paperwork. Massachusetts, all about the verdict slips. We fill it out. We sign it, put it, knock on the door, give it to the bailiff, and then we knock again. Wait. Give us back the papers. Is it too late?
Well, you remember.
Because the other way around, it was too late.
At the very end, while Judge Canoni was talking about this, she said, we have a verdict, we don't have a verdict. But then she says, as we all know, it's not a verdict until it's published. I think there is a verdict form in that manila envelope, and she's saying it's not official.
Not on the record.
Yes.
In front of everyone. And so they can pull it back. I am looking back at the notes from our producer inside of the courtroom, and she did say that the form was handed to the deputy and will be sealed.
In the case and conveyed to the court. We know that all the players are there in the courtroom. And it could be literally seconds before the judge tells everyone, take a seat and bring the jury in. This would be round 2. Throw away the first version. Might be the same as this. It may be the same as the first version. We don't know. But we are expecting that. We are expecting that this is all done.
If we got a verdict that fast, I think it definitely is the same, because that's just too long to switch 11 people back the other direction.
And now we've got
unless they were hung. You're joking.
It's so confusing right now. Sue says there is a verdict. Sue's in court. She says there's a verdict. We're not a disregard.
What do I do with the music?
Keep it going. Keep it going until it plays out.
Of this case shows that the defense has met challenges and difficulties along the way, but has been dedicated in meeting all of the evidence. We have talked about the discovery issues in this court.
What did you just cut to?
And that in large part brings us.
This is Brian Koberger.
All right, talk me through. Jordan, I need you right now.
Back to 2. Reverse. Mute and go back to 2. You know the process.
Is that this comes from the record? I would direct the
Brian
court to
Koberger
look
is starting.
back
No, you
to
can turn this
May
one off.
Of 2023
We're waiting
and
for the
June
verdict.
of 2023.
We'll get it.
Help, Scott.
I know. Jordan's going to reverse the process. Same search.
He
Go back,
can't.
find the first source.
He's not here.
Okay. Call me. Hit the back arrow on the search. I can see your screen. Hit the back arrow. Go to the same search.
Okay.
Find that first source.
The one we were talking about before?
Yep. The one we talked about this morning. It's crazy. It's such a busy day in court. Koberger is just starting his hearing right now.
Okay, I didn't do anything wrong. That channel is carrying that one.
Yeah, the other
Which
one.
other one?
The other one we came from. Call me.
Help me out. I don't know what
Call
that
me.
is.
Mute. Call me. Okay, we're going to get this squared away. Okay, we're waiting for people to show up. As soon as it brings the court feedback, we're going to have it for you on the live stream. I'm watching on Jen's computer and can see they're still talking outside of court. Hey, Jen, if you can take the other remote control, like for channel 8.
Yep.
And go to that second source, the other channel. It's the one Brian Koberger's on. We are just watching the OnlyFan right now in court. That's all that's happening.
Red?
Yeah. Yep. All right, perfect.
So now we have to choose between 8 and
8 is showing Koberger right now.
Right.
And 2, as soon as court starts, we're going to take that as soon as we jump back to the courtroom.
Okay.
And it's going to be fine. So we're watching the live feed. As you're not going to miss a moment. We've got it. You can go to 8 if you want right now.
Go to 8.
Yeah. That's a live feed. I prefer 2 if 2 gets this same view, but this is live as well.
Okay. I've got 2 on backup in case it changes.
We have redundancies set up. All right. We have Sue says there's a verdict. Sue O'Connell.
Guys, thanks for your patience.
Yeah. Let me see. I think Yannetti told a joke and everyone laughs. Miss Little hugs him. We're hearing that there's a false alarm verdict.
What's a false alarm verdict? Oh, what did we just experienced?
Okay, John DePietro show on Twitter says, my official statement on the incident this afternoon in the parking lot. There was no collision, no collision, no collision. That's just funny. That's just funny. Ian
That
Runkle
is funny.
says, then why did you leave the notes? I think he meant a joke, but all right.
There is a ton of people outside of the courthouse right now. Tons of reporters.
Tons.
Lots of police.
Lots of nervous energy. A lot of people there, as you can expect. It was a false memory.
Yes.
They're moving the barricades back.
Are they? I don't see them moving them. But I mean, I can't see everything. It's possible.
Court TV is reporting a verdict as well.
Oh, they are moving the barricades to allow for more people or more space.
To keep the people back. There's too big of a crowd.
So they
just a quick update from Brian Enton in the Brian Koberger trial. Brian Koberger's lawyer right now says the trial has to be delayed to protect Koberger's rights. She's talking about discovery delays and says they're not prepared to go to trial. They're also talking about some media issues. We know that we had that documentary that was released that had some information. So we'll see what happens. This is absolutely crazy. I'm not sure if you could script a more insane finish to this trial than what we've had, where literally the jury has walked the exact same path as the previous jury that was hung and now reached nearly the same conclusion. We can only conclude that they're very, very close to the same verdict the other one had. Which way they decided on the guilt on the OWI, I don't know. We won't know that until it's read in open court.
Well, honestly, we won't know everything. But they were gone for a long time after it seemed pretty obvious what they were choosing. Yeah, this trial will absolutely go down in history. Free Karen Reed. Yay. No, Karen Reed 3.0. Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate everybody's patience and positivity because I'm putting it all on the line here and coming up well short of Scott's level. It's fine. We're fine. Iris says I'm about to cry. Don't cry, Iris.
This, especially with a long trial, it's so easy to get vested as it feels like we know the people involved, right? We've watched for day after day after day, and it seems like we're sitting with them, and we can attach that way. So whichever way the verdict goes, I appreciate everyone in chat being respectful, both as respectful if your side won or respectful if your side did not come out victorious today. Either way, I think we should respect the work the jury did. I think the process the jury followed, as difficult as it might have been, especially with the verdict form, is a process that brings about justice. And if they reach a different conclusion that I may have reached, it can still be something that we accept, as our judicial system works the way it's intended. So what key cycle is this verdict being recorded on?
Thank you. Tons and tons of positive feedback for me. My love language is words of affirmation, so it means a lot. Thank you very much.
Keep it coming. Come on, guys.
Keep it coming. Yeah. Go. So what are we watching tomorrow? I don't know. Let's get through today.
I've got to ask, whichever side you're on, what do you think piece of evidence that you think is key above everything else? What would that piece of evidence be for you?
Me?
What would that key piece of evidence? I'm asking chat. What would the key piece of evidence be for you, or key testimony that for you just sort of seals the deal or summarizes the whole case?
ARCA. I see somebody say ARCA. That's going really fast. Sorry, guys. A couple of people are saying ARCA.
Phones, no collision, the steps,
the wounds,
dog bites,
missing dog.
Mrs.
So if
RA
you're
is the rock
guilty,
star.
yep, that's it. That's the one thing.
James Welling, welcome, brand new member. Thank you very much, James.
No
us
broken
now.
bones, no collision, the phone not moving. Oh, so fast. They moved house. Interesting. Crikey,
Albert.
this is fast.
Karen's own words, says Pat. Her video interviews, button face dials.
Higgins in the Sally Port.
Do I dare say
I
it
hit
here,
him.
Christina? Okay, of course. We have
There's
people on
some on both sides
so
that are coming in.
Brennan's closing argument contradictions. More ARCA. The clock stopped at 21 hours 17 minutes. I've got a few more. I've got 21:51 was my count on the verdict, but still just shy of 22 hours of deliberation.
I'm just going to randomly click on things. They're probably awesome.
Officer Devers was the officer who had the false memory. Says she saw something that she remembered wrong.
Yeah.
She saw something and reported it. She remembered wrong.
Do I see the cars?
Yeah, we do see cars. We see police, people.
Mm-hmm.
We're monitoring outside and inside.
And there are several screens that I don't know what they're monitoring. I have
The
those
snowplow
too.
guy not seeing the body on the ground. Holes in the hoodie. In the
Yeah.
cover up.
Given the circumstances.
Closing. Camping in the remote wilderness is not the best place to handle a verdict, but you knew this was going to happen. It wouldn't have happened had I not come. Let's just tell you that way. We would still be in deliberations till if I had not been here. The verdict is in. We do have a verdict.
The hoodie. Sorry, I'm trying so hard to catch these. They're fast. House long to die in the cold. Give RA credit. Yeah, for sure. He makes this look smooth like butter.
I've updated the live stream title to show that we are we have a verdict.
Thank you, because starting another thing at this point might give me a heart attack. Raina. Oh,
Raina, another 10. Raina, thank you very much for your generosity. That's 20 gifted memberships today. Appreciate that. Member for 29 months, Golden Girl.
Golden Girl's like, I'm so done with this one.
I'm so excited so I can come back. We're just going to have just a regular old murder trial where we can all just be friends and agree next. It's going to be wonderful. It's going to be great. We're going to sing, like, hold hands and sing Kumbaya and eat s'mores. So
Proud of this community. Really, me too.
A couple different verdict clocks going on out there. I kept mine running during the lunch breaks. And we did find out, we knew that the judge said they could deliberate during lunch breaks. I just anticipated, or I presumed they did. And so I ran mine during breaks. Others stopped during some breaks and not during others. So we're between about 20 and a half hours and 22 hours of deliberation time, roughly. James, I'm so excited. I can't stand it. Selena says, I hope you all love me after this. We love you anyway, Selena. Before and after. Deanie gifted some memberships. Thank you. Oh my goodness. It's going fast, you guys. I can't see everything.
I did the verdict music button, and then it was like, just kidding, it's not a verdict. Wait, yes, it is.
We did play the music. It shouldn't be that long of a delay for the judge to come back, because we anticipate that everyone has stayed in the courtroom and followed the orders that she said. The jury's not going anywhere, obviously. They're just staying in the deliberation room. Everyone else is just downstairs. You just need to bring them up, and in the courtroom. Should only take 5 minutes or so, and we'll be ready to go. This is a real verdict. Now, the jury has reported they have a verdict, but there is a possibility, I hate to say this, there's a possibility the jury is confused and they think that being hung is a verdict. And if they have a note in there that says we're hung and they put it in the verdict form, that's still a possibility.
Well, and clearly they've proven they can change their mind. So we don't know. We think so. So glad I showered.
Whoever showered last really wanted it to happen. Thank you.
I knew it would work.
Let's see. Thank you for the gifted memberships. A couple of you are gifting like crazy. Let's see. Good job today, Mrs. R.A. Thank you. Deanie Mullis gifted 5. Thank you, Deanie. Pantuflay, can I please get a swear word pass and use one of my favorites? Some effery going on. I'm excited for the verdict so to come back. Thank you, Golden Girl. We've missed you terribly. Raina, thank you for the gift in the memberships as well. And of course, Miss Lisa, Miss Lisa, a member for 20 months. OG. Just had a bug in my mouth. Sorry. It happens. I'm camping. James Welling, thank you very much for joining. Also, let's see, manifesting worked, says Kayla. Whatever you did, it was fantastic. Amber Fox says free Karen Reed and yay, no Karen Reed 3.0. Thank you.
No more sad boss.
They were saying whatever the verdict. I love all of you for being here in the best chat on the law tubes. Red Pen, as you know her as. Redfoot, a new thing that my wife called her today.
Sorry, I tripped up.
Bree Roz, still the star, Mrs. R.A. This is wicked stressful. David Little gifted a membership before this. Natalie, thank you very much for the super chat for Mrs. R.A. to take a deep breath. And Mathis, remember the fan's name is Ceiling Dion. Ceiling Dion.
Gosh, that is so funny.
Jackson's pacing.
Yeah, I can see that. Master Eden gifted a membership.
Thank you very much. Master Eden, thank you. All right.
OnlyFan is tired.
The OnlyFan's going to take like a whole week off and just like bask in the heat when this is done.
How many bugs will Ari eat
seems
today?
surreal.
You are unmuted.
Come on.
On those 3 charges, we are now going live to the courtroom.
Oh my God, I don't think I can
Remain
watch.
standing. Defendant remains standing. All other parties may be seated.
Your Honor, the record reflects that 12 deliberating jurors and 6 alternates are present.
Yes.
Fair and quiet?
Yes.
Mr. Foreman, members of the jury, if you agreed upon a
Yes.
verdict.
Yes.
Thank you. May I see the paper? Mr. Foreman, has the verdict sheet been placed in this envelope and have they been in your presence ever since?
Jim pulls it out, hands it straight to the judge, doesn't look at it. Judge is viewing it.
Foreman, on docket number 2282
Oh, my God.
CR117001, murder in the second degree, what say you? Is the defendant at the bar guilty or not guilty? So say you, Mr. Foreman? So say you? No. Do you agree? Yes. Do all of you agree? Thank you. 002, what say is the defendant at the bar not guilty or guilty?
Oh,
Is not guilty or guilty about that charge or any lesser included charge? Thank you. Specifically, number 5, operating under the influence of liquor by operating a motor vehicle with a blood alcohol level of 0.08 or greater. Correct? So say you, Mr. Foreman? So say you all? 003, what say is the defendant at the bar leaving the scene after accident resulting in death? Is the defendant not guilty or guilty? So say you, Mr. Foreman?
Oh!
So say you all?
Oh!
Jurors, hearken your verdict as the court records that you upon your oath say the defendant on 001 is not guilty, on 002 is guilty of operating under the influence of liquor, and 003 not guilty. Thank you.
Oh!
All right, jurors, everybody please be seated. Jurors, we thank you for your
Oh.
service.
You can hear the crowd.
Send you back your services complete. I'd like to do that and talk to you a little bit after. Thank you very much.
All rise.
Wow.
Oh, fuck me.
Sue says we can't hear because of the crowd. They can't hear the court because
She
of the
got
crowd. The crowd outside is
the
too
lesser
loud.
included of driving under the influence.
The jurors look emotional. One is smiling. Karen's in tears. Hugs all around on the defense team.
Well, that means that they can't retry her either because there has been a fuck me.
Media, please exit the courtroom immediately. Karen Reed.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Oh,
Hold
not yet.
on, everyone. Karen Reed. Ms. Reed, can I have your attention? As required by statute, I must inform you that the records regarding the charges that you have been found not guilty will be sealed by the Commissioner of Probation by the court unless you notify the Commissioner of Probation in writing within 10 days that you do not want these records sealed. To request that these records not be sealed, you may use the request not to seal form, which is posted on the trial court's website on mass.gov. I cannot accept the form here in court. You must submit it to the Commissioner of Probation as the address provided on the form. Please be aware that if the records regarding the charges which you have been found not guilty are sealed, you will be unable to access the sealed record of the not guilty dispositions or any other records regarding those charges. If you want copies of any documents regarding those charges before the records are sealed, you should request copies from the court within 10 days.
Fuck you, Brennan.
Thank
Fuck you, Bev.
All right, so we
Fuck
need
the
a
law,
date
you
for
Massachusetts.
sentencing.
You
Can we
all
do
get
it next week?
fucked.
And we would be prepared to go forward today.
Okay.
Sentencing today.
Okay.
I hope you get fired,
One
Brennan.
more sidebar. This is the
Oh,
she
fuck off,
basically
sidebar.
she has a DUI. Is what we have right
Yes,
now.
she
That's
has
how
a
I heard
DUI.
this. DUI. The crowd is still cheering outside. They're just going wild. They've said they want to proceed with it today. She has no prior record. It's very surprising. It would be very surprising if there was a incarceration period.
All right, so Ms. Gianetti, you ready to go forward today as well? Okay, Mr. Brennan, what's the Commonwealth's recommendation?
The Commonwealth moves to sentencing. We recommend probation 1 year, 24D program.
So the standard that everybody else gets on the first time Okay. So I'm happy to do it. All right,
There
thank
it
you
is.
all.
1 year probation, 1 year probation on docket number 002, the lesser included offense of operating under the influence, 1 year probation.
Oh, fucking hell.
The 24D program. Thank you.
How must you be feeling?
The feed's going wild. Karen Reed she just received 1 year probation as her sentence. It's for the DUI.
Yep.
It is the same punishment that anyone else would get the first time they're arrested for a DUI. As this is the first thing on her record. Everything else is gone. The murder charges, everything
Holy
else.
fuck.
It's gone. She can never be tried again for that. Can you fix the feed?
Paperwork that has been done.
You go to 2, Jen. There we go. Oh my goodness. Yeah, insurance rates through the roof. Civil suit still pending. It will proceed. It will have a higher, it'll be more difficult, obviously, but there's a civil suit that will still go forward. But Karen Reed, 12 jurors, 12 of her peers, found not guilty on the 2 murder charges. The only thing she was found guilty of was driving under the influence, which is the most expensive.
Okay, which is the most expensive DUI case ever, DWI. Scott, you
Yeah,
are
you
out,
think?
but I can still see you in the waiting room. Just bring yourself back in.
I'm back. Could you hear me?
No.
Okay, I'm back. Wow.
Wow,
Interesting.
the cheering, the screaming outside. These people,
I
they
feel
have
like I'm
been
gonna be sick.
quiet for so long. They have been so obedient. And then in that moment, just to hear the explosive joy and relief. And wow, that was amazing. I don't know who that is, but somebody just came out of the courtroom and was like, yes! Wow.
Not right now. My daughter's offering me a cupcake. The crowd was roaring in the courtroom. The crowd was so loud outside, people in the court couldn't hear what was going on.
Yeah.
We have mics, so we were able to hear a little bit better.
Wow.
Fuck.
Mr. Brennan, to his credit, on the sentencing, he says he recommends the same thing that happens for everyone else on a DUI: 1 year probation.
Yeah. Suck
the
shit, you fucker.
offender program, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And she's got that. Mr. Yannetti.
And to her credit, the judge said, yeah, she didn't try to push for anything bigger.
I'm happy to do that. Oh,
Karen Reed will not be going to jail. She will not be spending time in jail unless she violates her parole as related to this DUI charge. If she does, then the worst thing that can happen is she could get the sentence that would be normally given to somebody who violates the parole on a first-time DUI charge. It's the burden that's lifted off her shoulders, her family's shoulders, is massive. It's huge.
I do not know who this girl is, but she's full on freaking out.
I think there's going to be a few people getting drunk tonight.
Let's kill the audio.
I don't know how to kill the audio.
Push off instead of audio called video. You can hear the noise, just the crowd cheering. This is the view. This is the view of the media that are filming the supporters. It is packed. It's packed out there. People on stools and step ladders just trying to get a view, as everybody and their dogs want to see what happened today in this courtroom. History has been made for sure, and this is one that's going to be studied for a long time. All right, you can cut to 4. Thank you.
Sorry, I know that's not as exciting as a view, but it's less likely to get us a strike.
The crowd was so loud. The crowd was just incredible. This is just for many people. I mean, there are some people who are going to say, she got away with murder. But the way our system works, that answer would be no. She was found not guilty. She was found that she was not responsible, and it was done in two trials. She faced 24 of her peers. The first ones couldn't come to a conclusion. The second ones did, and they determined that she was not, in fact, guilty. That is how it stands on the record book, and that's how we should see her going forward. It's sad for the O'Keefe family. They leave the courtroom today, obviously feeling that possibly justice was not done. Hopefully that.
I think that's hard. The screaming and the yelling felt terrible to them.
It's not so much in your face type cheering. It shouldn't be. As people are very happy for Karen Reed.
Triumphant, I think.
Her own lawyers providing over $1 million worth of lawyer services without getting paid. They were so convinced of her innocence, saying she is not. This is not her fault. This is not something she did. And for putting their money where their mouth was, and providing all their services for free.
100%.
Congratulations to the defense team. That was a hard-fought case. This was difficult, and at times I'll say that you were fighting two opponents, one in the prosecution, one in the judge, and the thing is that you had somebody on your side as well, and that was the public. By and large, the public has been on Karen's side going through this. Have to give credit to people like Turtle Boy. Don't like how he does it, but getting that visibility to this case, I think was key. Was key to providing in the first time some of the coverage, some of the donations that she needed to pay for her defense, to set up this defense team, and just amazing, just amazing.
Yeah.
If you're feeling disappointed at this verdict, it's okay. It's okay. We're not always on the same page. There are cases that I feel that justice. There are people sitting in prison right now I think shouldn't be, and there are people that are walking free that I think should be in prison. But I would say don't let this decision in this case become your identity. If you feel that the system is wrong in what happened here, work for change. Work to improve the system instead of maybe just yelling about this outcome. The amazing justice system we have functions under the law, and the law functions indirectly through our voices. We make our voices heard by voting for people who will vote for laws that we like. And vote down laws that we don't. So if you feel injustice here, or if you feel that something needs to be changed, just become involved locally. I'm not going to say what party. It doesn't matter. Use your opinions, use your beliefs, use your convictions to make your voice known and to improve outcomes in court wherever you are. So I have to give a massive shout out to Mrs. R.A. handling the verdict as I am.
A verdict on the Karen Reed case. This is kind of my nightmare.
I'm ready to go swim. I'm done. I can just walk away from this.
I'm going to walk away from this too.
Take a nap maybe in the air-conditioned room. No, it's good. I don't know what he's doing over there. It looks like he's holding a very large spider on a stick. I'm concerned.
What a fantastic learning experience. I will say this was a really big learning experience that I was really struggling yesterday. And so I woke up this morning, I was like, I need to be trained right now. And so I'm feeling a lot more confident. There's obviously still a ton for me to learn, but I do feel more confident.
It's wonderful. I appreciate it. We did get the verdict music. If you missed it, you have to rewind. We did have verdict music.
It was the false alarm verdict.
We heard a false alarm after, and then the false alarm was canceled.
Yeah.
All right, Mrs. R.A., can you play the outro music one more time?
I can try, yeah. Remember, is it press fuse?
Just as a recap before she does that. We're doing a fire. Just as a recap, Karen Reed, verdict came in after almost 22 hours of deliberation. The jury reached a unanimous verdict. 12 jurors found that she was not guilty of the two major charges and found that she was guilty of driving under the influence. This is a first offense for Karen. That's the only thing that will be on her record. As a first offense, the punishment for her is going to be 12 months of probation plus I think like a offenders program, like a class she has to attend. But this is a win for the defense team. I think it's a win for justice because in this case, the science just didn't match up with the story that was told about this one. So congratulations to all those, and thank you all for being here. Thank you, Mrs. R. If you want to click the music.
Yes. Is it called? What's it called?
Press fuse.
Okay. All right.
There we go. My daughter is standing here. She's got a towel. She's in a swimsuit, ready to go to the beach. I think I might go join her. This has been an absolutely amazing case. Can you fade down the music a tiny bit? This has been an amazing case, an amazing day, an amazing couple days watching this jury deliberate. I would encourage all of you. I know you still want to watch. There's a lot of TV on. There's a lot of reporters and people talking and jockeying for position. There'll be some shouting and yelling back and forth. I'd recommend you go outside and take a deep breath. Just realize
Go get bitten by a bug.
The world is good, even if you're not happy with the outcome, but there are good things out there. We're going to be back. We're still going to be family. We're going to have new cases for you. We do not come back tomorrow other than the podcast.
Fucking
We are
over.
planning on doing the
Fucking
podcast. That's why the watch has plans. So podcast tomorrow. We're going to take the rest of the day off today. It's about 45 minutes early. But thank you, everything. Tonight, when you go home, please hug people you love. Smile at someone, make their day just a little bit better, and please stay safe. While you return home, we go back live on Thursday with the podcast. Have a wonderful holiday tomorrow. Thank you, Mrs. Barry, for all your work. Appreciate you guys. Have a good one.
Oh, I'm sure we'll find something else to argue over. I'm still in shock. Yeah. Fuck if I know how I'm going to get to sleep now.
See, I'm kind of curious. If Brendan went over and shook the hands of the defense lawyers
I can't turn it off
after it
from
was
here.
over, I'd be curious if he did that and they shook his hand when it was over. 'cause
All right.
that's what they should have done. But I don't.
Oh, look, I can take it off. Which one is me? This one.
While he's doing that, I'll promise you I'll give you a copy of that. You don't have to remember all of those instructions.
There you go. Hang on, I'll turn the telly down. Oh.
Yesterday you met
Oh,
shit. You heard a little bit about how the process worked in jury selection, and you probably
All right, well, all I can say is thank fuck for that. Fuck you, Brennan. Fuck you, Bev. And go fuck yourselves. You pack of shunts. We'll be back tomorrow with day 3 of Mr. Chandler Halderson. Dismemberments. Why does that sound so much more appealing? That's terrible. We're just got a regular dismemberment tomorrow. All right. Love you all. Stay the fuck away from Hank Brennan, America. Bye.
It's been 12 months since acquittal, and so much has passed us by. Such a scattering with evidence, and some blatant flat-out lies. I bet he wears those silky undies, the ones with that jean made of lace. So you can bring in Massachusetts, 'cause we all ain't got no quit. And we all know that the truth is my car is not the thing John hates.